So for this video I'm going to be showing one method of adding a pom-pom to a scarf. It can be one you bought or one you've made. For mine I'm using this neon green one. And I'm going to add matching pom-poms because that's the colour that the new owner wanted. But they don't have to be the same colour or the same kind of yarn. It's your scarf, you can add whatever you like. This video is just to show the method that I used. I've already done one end, which looks like this. I crocheted this scarf, so the yarn is an exact match. But that said, it's entirely down to personal preference, and some people taper the ends of these scarves. I've decided not to do that because I quite like the way it bunches up. Again, that's just down to how you prefer it. I like the way it did it, so I decided against tapering the ends. But you can make it however you like. To start with, you're going to need the scarf that you want to alter, the yarn you want to use for your pom-poms, a darning needle or yarn needle. You need to make sure that the eye will be large enough for whatever yarn you're going to be using. But if you don't have one, you could probably use a regular needle and a thinner thread. But since I've got one, I'm going to be using this one with the same colour yarn. So next you want a Pom Pom maker. Now I bought this set from Hobbycraft because they're pretty reasonably priced and pom-poms are a popular request for me. Plus I find that the ready-made ones are a bit easier to use. But if you're only going to be doing this as a one-off, you might not want to spend money on one. It's fine to use one you've made yourself. There are tutorials online showing how that can be done with cardboard as well as other methods of making pom-poms. But since I already made the first one, I'm going to be using this Pom Pom maker so I can make sure it matches the one on the other end. And finally, you will need a pair of scissors to cut your pom-pom when it's done. So to get started, you want to take your pom-pom maker and start wrapping the yarn that you chose around it. It can be a bit fiddly when you're first starting, but it soon secures up. So what you want to do is you want to start on one side, and then when you feel that that's got enough yarn on it, you're going to switch it over and wrap on the other side. So as you're working, you're going to end up with something that starts to look like this. And by this point, it's going to be a lot more secure and you're not going to have to keep holding it together while you're doing your wrapping. And then you just keep wrapping it until this middle section here is all filled with yarn. So once you've completed one side, it'll look something like that, and then you can basically just take your yarn and start wrapping around the other side. Obviously if you're using a cardboard one, it might be slightly different, but if you've got a dedicated maker like this, you can just switch it over like that. See, I think some people do say, oh, cut your yarn and then start wrapping again on the other side, whereas I just think, oh, I'll just drag it over, because you can trim any stray bits off afterwards, so I'm just lazy basically, so I just pull it across like that. But you can do it whatever way is most comfortable for you, and basically you're just going to repeat exactly what you did on the other side but on the new side until they both look like that. So once you've finished your wrapping, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. So then what you want to do, if you're using one of these pom-pom makers, is just put these little clips down, or you might have something that's slightly different, but they're usually pretty easy to work out how you have to do it. And there should be instructions on it as well if you get a different kind of pom-pom maker. But basically fasten it together like that, and then you can just snip this end off, and then you want to start cutting. So what you want to do is look for this bit here, just where you can get the tip of your scissors in, and you just want to put your scissors in and start cutting. It can be quite stiff to do, so just persevere with it. So after applying a little bit of force, I finally managed to get a few bits cut just to show you how it starts to look, and you're just going to basically follow along the line and keep cutting. You might want to drag a bit out like I've been doing there just to get cut. Sorry about the focus. Thing is, you need very sharp scissors sometimes, especially when you've used a lot of yarn, and these scissors aren't quite sharp enough, but I can't find my proper ones, so just persevere if you've just got regular scissors and you will get it cut eventually. Once you finish cutting, you're going to end up with something that looks like this. So at that point you can start trimming any stray ends just to even it all out a bit until you're satisfied that it looks nice and pom-pom like. And once you're happy with the way it looks, bearing in mind that you can always do a little bit more of a trim after it's attached, once you've removed the plastic part or cardboard, whatever you're using, you can set this to one side and then start weaving the end of your scarf. So you want to take your darning needle or whatever needle you're using and the yarn or whatever thread you're going to put through your needle and just thread it through like that, and you want to double it up. So you want to make sure the ends are equally matched. So you're going to pull it like that so the ends are together and then your needle looks like that. And then what you want to do is take the end of the scarf that you're putting the thread into, and then just, you don't have to be overly neat with this, but try and keep it fairly tidy and consistent throughout, so then it'll bunch up neatly. I'm just putting it all through in one go if I can, just makes it a bit quicker. So there, so then you've done that, and you can pull your needle through and then try and get it so that your yarn is equally done at each end, like that. And then you can just pull this sort of bunched like that, and once you're satisfied that you've done that how you wanted it, you can then just cut this bit, because the needle was only necessary for actually getting it through the crochet or the knitting, whichever one you've got. So then you'll end up with something that looks like that. So once your thread or yarn is securely attached through your scarf, all that's left to do is to attach the pom-pom to the end of it and tie it off at the same time. This is why I like to use matching yarn, just because it won't show up in contrast if a little bit does poke out through the pom-pom. But again, if you cut it low enough down, it should be fine. So what I do is just do the pom-pom as you would normally do it, but obviously not normally attached to something. You put your thread through these bits and then the other thread through that side, and then just very carefully making sure it keeps inside. You pull it really tight, and it should go inside the pom-pom maker like that, and just pull it a bit. If you've got strong thread or yarn, you should be fine to give it a bit of force and it won't snap. But like I said, it does depend what kind of yarn you're using. This is just a basic acrylic, so it's quite strong. So then you want to tie it like that, and you can give it a double knot if you like. I usually save my double knots until the last one. So then you want to take them and wrap them round like that, and then you can tie it again at the other side, and again give it a bit of force, and then just bring it back round again. You don't have to do it 3 times. I just like to make sure it's really nice and secure, especially because this scarf is going to be for somebody quite young, and you know what they're like, trying to pull things off all the time. So I'm going to double knot this bit, and I think I'm just going to bring it round one more time just for real good security. Oops. So nice and knotted, and then one last knot. So after you've wrapped it around a few times and knotted it, it should be nice and secure. So you can just trim your ends like that, and you can also trim them again afterwards once you've taken the pom-pom maker off. So now all you've got to do is just remove whatever you use to make your pom-pom. And then you've got a scarf with a pom-pom attached, and all you need to do now is just trim any stray ends, and then it's all done. So I hope this video was helpful to someone, and thank you for watching.